All right, guys. Hopefully, I am live now. So, I guess welcome to my first live stream with this new setup. This is really just kind of a test run. I want to make sure the audio sounds good, the video looks good, the bandwidth here at the shop can support it. Because if you guys have been around for a while and seen some of my previous live streams, I don't think I've live streamed since I moved, which I guess has been a little over a year now. And our old house had terrible internet, so I would actually live stream just from my phone. And so the quality was okay, but I kind of always wanted to set up something like this. This reminds me, I need to put this on Do Not Disturb. But hopefully now it's gonna look pretty good. So it's pretty cool. I've got a whole setup here so I can change kind of views and things like that. So I can show you guys my desktop, do a picture-in-picture type of thing. If we wanted to go through some SketchUp stuff, I think that could be pretty fun. Obviously, I use SketchUp quite a bit in my work, and I think it seems like a lot of you guys are interested in kind of learning more about the types of things I do in SketchUp, so I think that could be fun. So, if you guys have ideas for these live streams, let me know. I will definitely be interacting with the live chat and all that kind of stuff. But I just figured it would be cool to start doing these more regularly. I'm considering doing it also as kind of an audio podcast, so that way you guys can catch it live on YouTube here or catch it on iTunes later on, and basically just stay more up to date with you guys. So I realize this is my second channel, so a lot fewer actually people on here. So nobody's actually even active in the chat yet, but I figured I could just update you guys on what I've been working on here recently, just to continue to test out all this stuff. So I actually just yesterday finished up the kitchen, the big kitchen remodel I've been working on for, God, I guess like 2 months now, really. It's been a really long process. I kind of sped through the first part and got a lot done really quickly. And the last kind of couple of things have taken a lot longer than I expected. Obviously, this whole pandemic thing has slowed some things down. Like, for example, I was missing the filler strip that went next to the wall oven in the kitchen. That just wasn't ordered originally. And so, the rest of my cabinetry showed up on like February 28th or something like that. And then the filler strip didn't show up until this week. So little details like that of course I wanted to get buttoned up before doing all the final before and after shots have slowed things down, but I already knew I was going to have a lot of video content that was related to the kitchen. So I've been able to pace it out nicely. I guess I can go back to my main view here since we're not actually using SketchUp. So anyway, that's kind of what I've been working on. Oh, let me show you some of my nifty overlays here. So now you can see this awesome text overlay with all my social media info. So that should be out on Sunday as long as everything is approved and all that kind of stuff. So that'll be the final video. I got a lot of kind of really good before and after shots, and it's just crazy to look back at how the kitchen looked 2 months ago, because it has definitely changed a ton in that time. So really excited to have that finished up. But I've got a ton of projects kind of waiting in the wings. So the next one after that, which I've kind of been teasing on social some, is this French cleat pantry that I've been working on. It was based on a Frank Howarth design. I love Frank's videos, been watching him for really since the beginning, and always thought his kind of French cleat closet systems made a lot of sense. And so when we wanted to redo our pantry, that was kind of the first thing I thought of, because we had wire shelving, which I absolutely hate. I think not only is it super ugly, but it's not that functional because it just seems like things just want to tip over. And the spacing was totally fixed. Every shelf was the same space, so any bigger items that we wanted to store in there, we couldn't, like our stand mixer and things like that. So being able to do it all in SketchUp and kind of figure out exactly what we wanted to store in there, and then order some kind of storage bins that helped us organize things in there. It was really, really nice. It's super functional now. I put LED lights under every shelf. It's all motion activated, so that way, when we open the doors, or right now there are no doors on it, so when we walk by, the lights come on automatically, and after 5 minutes, they turn off. So it's a really cool setup. At some point, I want to build some bifold doors for that pantry. It already had doors, but they were just kind of your standard swing open doors, so it would really get in your way when you were trying to take something from the pantry to the kitchen. So it was super annoying. And so I think bifold doors would be a good solution there. Plus, I think it'd be a fun project. I know Bob from I Like to Make Stuff did some bifold doors a little while back. Also, David from Make Something. And seems like a fairly straightforward project. You just kind of order the hardware and then build a couple of doors to fit. And I think that would be a lot of fun. So then after that, the project that I'm starting next, since the pantry is actually already finished, is going to be a storage shed for our backyard. It's actually really just for our garbage cans, because in our area in western North Carolina, in the Asheville area, there's a lot of bear activity, and so we can't keep our trash cans outside really. Not only that, but our HOA doesn't allow them to be visible from the street. So since they're so big, we have 3 96-gallon trash cans, between one regular trash can, one recycling can, and then we actually have an extra one since I don't have a dumpster here at the shop, and I generate a lot of sawdust and things like that. So anyway, I needed to build a shed that was big enough to store 3 of those trash cans, and shockingly, they are about 92 inches wide for all 3 of those cans next to each other. So I landed on a 4x8 lean-to shed. Should be super simple. I ended up finding some plans for them, actually. This iCreatables website, they have some great shed building videos on YouTube. And he had already kind of worked out all of the material efficiencies and things like that. So figured it was better to pay a couple bucks, get the plans, and then I can build it and just make my life a little easier. So that'll be what I start on next week. So got a couple chats here. So let's see. We've got Emma, who's definitely interested in the design process, so that's great. I definitely think this would be a great platform to do some SketchUp tutorial stuff and really just have you guys sit through some of my design process and kind of see how I use SketchUp, and hopefully that might be helpful when you guys are working on your own projects. Mr. Baseball, can't wait to see the video. Thanks, man. And then Ederson, good morning, and everyone else. So yeah, good morning, man. Yeah, thank you guys for joining me. I realize this is kind of a new thing here, especially on this second channel, but if you guys are interested in these live streams, I think I'm going to kind of have them almost exclusively on the second channel, just so I don't kind of fill up the main channel, and I don't want to be over notifying people over there. So it just seems like it makes sense to kind of revive this channel, the second channel, which has just been kind of dead for a while, and make it a live streaming channel. So Jeremy, how's it going? Great way to kill time at work. Definitely agreed with that. Live stream is great for that. And then Munra, hey man, what's going on? So the other really cool thing about this software I'm using, let me hide the social media overlay, is I can actually add some of your comments as an overlay on the live stream. So say one of you guys asks a question, I can actually just overlay it here on the screen and answer the question. So that way if somebody jumps in, as I'm halfway through answering the question, they'll kind of have some context, and then it'll hide itself automatically, or I can just hide it with a press of a button like that. So pretty dang cool. Yeah, it's a really cool little platform I have set up here. So if any of y'all in the chat have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I'm just kind of rambling on because I'm just testing out this whole setup. So yeah, I think next is going to be the storage shed, as I mentioned. So Emma, it looks like you have a locker project coming up. Yeah, storage seems to be the thing that I keep building. Like, we have redone the bonus room at this point, which I did a whole series on, and that was great for adding storage. And then I did the home bar, which was just a whole bunch of cabinetry. And then I'll do this shed. And then at some point after that, I'm gonna also do both our guest bedroom closet and my son's closet, because both of them, again, are just crappy wire shelves, and there's like one shelf in these big closets, so it's a total waste of space, and I'm super excited to get that dialed in. It's kind of funny, moving into this house, it didn't really check a lot of the boxes of what we thought we wanted. It just happened to be in a neighborhood that we loved, so it actually kind of worked out because it's been a great source of projects. I've basically been able to customize the house room by room to fit our needs. I did the home bar, I did the kitchen now, I did the home theater, I did the bonus room. So I'm just kind of slowly working my way through. I still totally want to remodel our master bath and master closet and master bedroom. And I think by the time I'm done, I'll have redone everything in the house. But it's kind of cool. I know at some point I want to do our stairway leading downstairs, or I guess from the main level up to the second level. do some welded handrails and that kind of thing. We have carpet there now, and I would love to replace that with hardwood, or it seems like I'm going to have to do some sort of cover on the existing treads that are there because they're not removable. But yeah, it's kind of funny how moving into a new house was this source of projects for me, and definitely been nice to have those over the past year or so. So I guess to those of you who are in the live stream, let me know, does everything sound good? Does it all look good? Is the stream quality good? Because again, this is kind of my first time doing it here at the shop with this whole setup. So I want to make sure, my bandwidth is good enough to support streaming this higher quality video. And I really would like to be able to repost these after the stream so that people who missed them can watch them. And then again, potentially use the audio from this as a podcast just in case somebody'd rather consume it in that way. So awesome. So Jeremy, you said it looks and sounds great. So that's great to hear. So let me actually turn up this volume so I can hear the live chats a little bit easier. Casual Builds, how's it going? Welcome to the chat. Awesome, good. Looks like the quality is good. So that's great. Again, if you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm gonna probably stick around for at least another 15, 20 minutes just to kind of, again, see how this all goes, and hopefully I can answer any questions you might have or whatever. So hopefully you guys are all hanging in there. I know it's a really weird time right now. I know I'm very fortunate to be able to keep doing what I do. Obviously, I have this shop that is mine. I work here, pretty much by myself, so I'm able to really limit contact. I have a guy who helps me on the back end, Eddie, but usually we try to work on different days here at the shop, so that way we don't have to have any contact, and works out nicely. And then my wife's working from home, and so it's a little weird. I'm definitely going a little stir crazy. I'm missing, going out to eat, going out to my breweries on the weekend, but have been spending a lot more time with my son and my wife, and so it's been really cool. All right, so Casual Builds, you have a non-woodworking question. Let me pull it up on the screen. How fancy is that? So let's see, how do I go about editing my videos? So I use Final Cut Pro. I have always used Final Cut. I learned that software actually in high school. I ran our school news in high school, so learned a video edit in that class, and actually that was kind of my original career path. I either wanted to be a radio DJ. I thought that would be a super cool job. I love music, listen to music constantly, and just thought that would be pretty fun. Then radio just kind of died with, that was, I guess, 2006-ish, and that was, right when digital music was really just starting to crush radio. And so anyway, switched to TV and film kind of stuff. Thought maybe I wanted to be an editor, but then realized that sitting at a computer all day just editing, I thought would get pretty old. But it did allow me to kind of keep up that skill during that time. And then also during that time, I started my first blog, which was actually a cigar review website. So that was my first WordPress website. That's how I learned how to build websites and really kind of honed any video editing skills, and kind of started doing stuff on YouTube back then. So that was kind of the original thing that got me going on this platform. And then I started working in the cigar industry, so I changed it to a beer review website, and then became Crafted Magazine, which was just more of a general kind of into things that were handmade, and coffee and beer and handmade instruments and jeans and leather and all that kind of stuff. But it was a little bit too broad, and so then I ended up doing a woodworking project for the Crafted Magazine thing I was running. Put up a YouTube video. That was the solid corridor workbench I did. That was the first woodworking video on my YouTube channel. If you want to go back and watch it, it is definitely not as good as my current videos, I don't think, but that was kind of how that all started. So yeah, I learned to edit years ago and still use Final Cut. And I do have some help on the back end for like the rough editing, just because editing takes so long. I don't really have time to do that all and then try to produce these projects as well every week. So actually, my editor actually just got too busy for me. He works with a buddy of mine, Seth, from Seth's Bike Hacks. So he's also his editor, and Seth is pumping out a crazy amount of videos right now. So I actually had to edit this tile backsplash video that'll come out this weekend completely myself, which is definitely pretty time consuming. I'm pretty efficient because I've been editing for a long time, but editing is just a process that is kind of slow, which you'll know if you've ever done any video editing work. So I'm gonna, I think, be training Eddie to work on the rough cutting, and then what I do from there is, when I say rough cut, they're taking the timeline with all the clips in it, my rough voiceover, which I record in kind of one long take, and then they kind of chop that up, remove all the breaths and things like that, and hone it down to a reasonable rough draft, and then I go back in and tweak it to how I like it. I add all the transitions, the titles, the color grading, the music, all that kind of stuff that I think really makes the personality of the video, obviously, is along with the voiceover and things like that. So, yeah. All right, Seth's Custom Creations. He has a YouTube channel with around 10,000 subscribers. That's awesome, man. Use your phone to film. I mean, iPhone is honestly an amazing tool. It's gotten so good, especially this is the 11 Pro with the 3 different lenses, and I use this thing all the time in my videos because if I need to get in a tight spot, or I try to get an angle of a room that's kind of hard to get far enough back on, I can use the wide angle lens. So iPhone is great. He's wondering if professional camera equipment would affect his channel. So for $300, I don't know there's much out there that would be better than an iPhone, honestly. I would say if you have that kind of budget, the things I would focus on improving from an iPhone would be audio quality, because I think audio is one of those things that's easily just as important as the video quality, because nothing is worse than a super echoey, hard to hear, vocal section. So, getting a lavalier mic, actually this lavalier mic, it's the Rode Smart Lav Plus, I think is what it's called, and it can plug right into an iPhone, I guess with the lightning adapter. But that would allow you to have actual good quality audio when you're talking to the camera. I think that would go a long way. You could also, if you don't already have a good tripod and phone mount, doing that just so you have nice stable shots. You could potentially look into something like a motorized gimbal. You can get phone versions for like $150, and those would allow you to get some more kind of cinematic shots. But I would say for $300, I would just keep saving. I think probably realistically the kind of minimum level for something that's going to be better than an iPhone is probably going to be at least $500. So I'm a big Panasonic fan. I started with the Panasonic G7, which is about $500, I think. That includes a lens, and it's a DSLR, so changeable lens. It has a mic input, which I think is pretty important. You can use a shotgun or a lavalier, a wireless lavalier, like I'm using here. But if I were you, I would just kind of keep doing what you're doing. It sounds like you're doing well growing the channel, and iPhones are definitely plenty good quality. I don't think production value is as important as people think. I mostly just have fun making my videos look nice, and it's just part of, I think, kind of the art form of making this type of content is being able to make it not only interesting to sit through, but educational and telling a story throughout the video. Those are kind of things I really focus on, and I think the better quality video, obviously the video I think is more fun to watch, but does it equate to more audience growth? I don't necessarily think so. So yeah, that would be my recommendation. But yeah, camera gear is not an excuse anymore as to why to get into YouTube. I know I just became friends with the Perkins Builders Brothers. They are local here. They're in probably 45 minutes from here. But Eric shoots all of the videos on his iPhone, edits them all on his iPhone, and I think they're about to pass 100K if they haven't already. So really, really crazy. The iPhone is just, or Android, I guess, has just made video production totally accessible to everybody. So yeah, definitely not an excuse anymore. So yeah, if you guys have any other questions, let me know. I think I'm gonna start a little fancy countdown timer here for the end of the stream. We'll run it till 11:30, I think. Let's see. Oh yeah, how cool is that? I tell you, this software is pretty cool. Yeah, so also one other thing I wanted to mention before I forget, I have a other side, 50% off plan sale going on right now. I figured, we're all sitting at home, kind of bored, and hopefully getting some kind of content like that can help you guys either plan your upcoming builds or just kind of brainstorm ideas. So hopefully you guys can maybe check that out. I also changed all of my plans over to a new platform because I originally was selling my plans on my main website, which is hosted by Squarespace. They have this really weird thing where download links expire after 24 hours. So I would get so many questions, so many emails from people who had not downloaded the plans in time, and I would have to go back in and regenerate those links and all that stuff. So it was just a total pain. So there was no way to change that on Squarespace, and I finally had just had enough because I already get way too much email, so that was just kind of becoming hard to deal with. So anyway, it's on a new platform, seems really clean, easy to use. I know my buddy Brad from Fix This Build That also is on this same platform, Gumroad. So yeah, go check it out. Have 50% off of those plans. And I also added a couple bundles, so if you guys are looking to get maybe a handful of plans, you can definitely save quite a bit there. All right, so Jeremy's just asking about the live streaming software. Yeah, I'm using this software called Ecamm Live that I found out about after kind of researching live stream setups. I'm a Mac guy, obviously you can see this in frame, and it's a Mac-only software, but it's got a really nice, clean UI. What I like is it pulls in all of the live chat into one nice little window here, and then I can control all these overlays without having to kind of hunt around. OBS is another kind of platform that a lot of people use. It's free. This is only like $10 a month or something like that, but this is a lot easier to use, and I think it looks a lot better. So yeah, hopefully that answers. Mr. Baseball, how long is the sale for? I haven't really decided yet. I'll probably run it at least through the weekend, maybe a little bit through next week, probably till I send out my next email newsletter, which will most likely be on Monday. So definitely through the weekend. So yeah, it looks like Casual Builds. He picked up one of the Canon M50s. And yeah, those are definitely great. That I think is kind of the sweet spot of getting started cameras, that kind of $500 to $600 range, because anything cheaper than that, you're really just going to be looking at a point and shoot. And honestly, there's not many point and shoots that are going to do a whole lot better than a more recent iPhone. Like the Sony RX100, the newer ones of those are awesome, but they're also $1,000. So I just don't think there's that much of a reason to upgrade until you can go to something that has changeable lenses and an external mic input and things like that. Because I also think that the camera that's with you is the best camera, because you're going to miss a lot of shots if you don't feel like lugging around a bigger camera, or if you just don't have it with you, or your battery's dead or whatever. And one thing that we all probably have with us pretty much all the time is our phone. So that's why I end up getting some, especially B-roll type shots with my phone and just kind of integrating those in the video. And honestly, I don't think you can tell half of the time unless it's like the super wide angle, which obviously looks a lot different. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, Casual Builds. Did I enjoy Workbench Con this year? Yes, definitely. Workbench Con is probably my favorite event of the year. It's one of the few times we all get together as a community, and it's just super, super fun. I consider a lot of the people in this space like really good friends of mine, and it's funny, we obviously stay in touch throughout the year digitally or talk on the phone or whatever, but it's just really cool to be able to get together in person and hang out. And I think that's the event that has the most of us kind of YouTube making people. So highly recommend it, especially, oh, my overlays are overlaying. I definitely recommend it, especially if you're trying to do this as a content creation thing, as a maker. I think the classes are great, but then also just talking to people like us who do this stuff for a living, it's a great way to figure out kind of how to do it. Because like when I decided to quit my day job and pursue this full time, the first thing I did was set up a call with some people that I didn't know. I just emailed them and saw if they wanted to maybe chat with me to help me out, and they did. And that was Bob from I Like to Make Stuff, David from Make Something, and Matt Cremona. And I had calls with all three of those guys, and I consider all three of them friends now, which is crazy. But back then, you know, I thought they were doing really well and succeeding, and I wanted to figure out if there was something that I was missing maybe to help me get going there. So yeah, definitely think Workbench Con is an awesome event. Sorry you didn't get to come say hi. Definitely, you know, if you guys ever see me out at events, I'm definitely happy to chat with y'all. So yeah, no, Workbench Con is really cool. The other nice thing for me, I live in Asheville, North Carolina, so it's only about a 3-hour drive for me. Plus, I actually grew up in Atlanta, so my parents live down there. So it's just a really easy event for me to get to. And then it's just a ton of fun. There's this karaoke bar that we've gone to every year that we rent out, and it's amazing. So yeah, totally recommend Workbench Con next year. I mean, hopefully, I imagine things will be back to normal at that point, and it's definitely a super fun event. So cool. Well, I think that is probably going to pretty much do it for this first live stream. I'll go ahead and throw back up these overlays. So if you guys want to keep up with me from week to week, in between videos, definitely follow me on Instagram. I post a ton of stories. I actually don't post on my main feed as much, but I do a lot of stories kind of behind the scenes. Also have been really working on getting my Facebook page going again. They've started doing monetized video, which is a really cool option considering I have such a huge backlog of content. So we've been kind of re-editing my old videos down to these kind of 3-minute quick edits. So that's just a nice kind of fun way to consume projects and maybe projects that you never saw originally. So my Facebook page is just Crafted Workshop. You can search for it. And then I'm also on Twitter, but don't do a ton there. And then I do have that plan sale going in case you guys want to check that out. And again, that'll run at least through the weekend. So thanks a lot, you guys, for joining me. I'm glad that the quality is good here. You know, this was a lot of work to set up this whole setup, so I'm glad it all kind of came together and looks good and sounds good. So again, I will be doing these a lot more regularly. I'll probably do one live stream on my main channel just to kind of announce that I'm going to start live streaming regularly, and then from there they'll all be here. So if you guys are interested in watching these live streams, definitely subscribe to this second channel. You know, ring the notification bell so you don't miss them, and I'll also send out email newsletters and post about them on social and stuff like that. So thanks, guys, and oh, one last question. Emma, are we going to see you out at Seth's building any wooden lawsuits? Absolutely. I would already be there, but you know, obviously we're on full lockdown. Seth lives like 20 minutes from me, so I'd go hang out at his place all the time. It just happened to go on lockdown right as Alex came into town, and right when I actually had some time to go down and build some stuff with them. So anyway, I'm sure once this all clears up, I will definitely be down there building some stuff. So all right, thanks guys, and I guess until next time, happy building.